Welcome to what we call Nana's Ranch, but I'm not at the ranch today. I'm at home where I have been because it's really cold out and there's no reason for me to hang out at the ranch right now. It's just super cold. I think it was I think it was in the low 30s this morning. I should remember. I don't remember. I'm going to be reading some more jokes out of my book. I know it's backwards. I apologize, you guys. The Little Giant Encyclopedia of One-Liners. It's a funny book. It's got a lot of fun little jokes, mostly one-liners. But then when you get into it, there are a lot that are multiple lines, although today not so much. We're in tough neighborhood today. Yes, I've got my microphone on my glasses. I have found that's the most consistent output as far as sound goes. Having it on my glasses gives me the most consistent sound. I still feel like I sound like I'm talking through a tin can, but it's partially because I'm congested. I don't know why, don't know what's going on, but I'm just now listening to myself in my own ears. I sound like I'm tin canning it. So if I sound like I'm tin canning it to you guys, there's a reason for it. I started yesterday in gossip, and then we went into grouchy, and it was about neighbors. And now we're in tough neighborhood, which is also about neighbors, which will take us to the internet. I have a neighbor story to share with you. It's pretty funny. I mean, it's a sad funny. It's somebody with some kind of an emotional need that is not being met. And I think we all have someone like that that's either in our life or has been in our life. Someone who's just a little too needy, and it's very difficult to navigate a needy person because it seems like the more you give to them, the more they need. So if you give them, let's say you have someone who needs like weekly contact. They just want to know someone cares. Now, for me, if no one contacts me for a week, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm really okay. In fact, I'm okay to go a month with nobody contacting me. However, when my grandson, my adorable grandson, calls me on FaceTime, we chat. I love his calls. But there are some people who, if you don't contact them on a regular basis, they they let you know that you've let them down. And it seems like the only time they contact you is when they are angry with you or needy. Uh, those people are tough. They're tough. Hard to navigate that one because if you contact them, let's say you set an alarm and contact them once a week, they want twice a week. And then if you give them twice a week, they want 3 times a week. Then they want every day. Then they want to come over. And it's like, I'm not needy. I'm not needy. I don't need to be surrounded by people. I'm okay being very solitary. But let's talk about a tough neighborhood. I've got a couple of jokes. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. That was really kind of you. And I did read a couple of these yesterday, so I just need to scan down. I did Rodney Dangerfield. If you missed yesterday's, this one's kind of cute. If you don't know who Rodney Dangerfield is, go ahead and do a Google search on him and find out. He was a comedian. He was a physical comedian as well. He really jumped around his body and he really put a lot into his comedy. He says, I live in a rough neighborhood. We just put up a sign. It says, drive fast. The life you save may be your own. He had a very distinct delivery, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He was good. Rodney Dangerfield. I think you'll enjoy his comedy. Okay, let's see. I'll go down a little bit further. These that I'm going to read right now are not attributed to anybody. Most of the chapters start with somebody. Hello, whoever's in here. Thank you for joining me. And they attribute the quotes to comedians, comics, and generally they're from a long, long time ago. They have been in the ground for decades, some of these men and women. Every now and then a woman. Not a lot of women are featured in this book at all. Not very many. Okay. Oh, let's see. The first word that baby would speak in okay. The first words that babies would speak in our neighborhood were mama and duck. I like that. I went to a very tough school. Every one of my classmates was the school bully. Anytime I came home from school without a bloody nose, my mom knew I played hooky. Oh my gosh. I got beat up so much in high school that I went to a 4-year college just to heal. Oh my goodness. We had so many fights in our school that recess was when we were all sent to a neutral corner. Things were different back in the day. At our school, the queen of the senior prom was selected by an arm wrestling competition. Okay. All the pictures in our yearbook were shown front and profile. I don't remember if I had any friends in high school with a record. I don't know. I'm sure there are some that have a record by now. I'm 63. In fact, I know there are some that have a record. Our senior prom didn't need any chaperones. We had enough parole officers to keep order. Over half the kids in our school graduated on a plea bargain. On Valentine's Day, we exchanged heart shaped wanted posters of each other. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's the jokes. That's the bad neighborhood chapter. The next one, King of the Road, it starts with automobiles. This will be interesting because this book was printed in 1999 and the jokes go way back. Like the comedians, the comics that they quote, they were funny way back when. PS, my asthma is bad today, so I am going to have trouble. Thank you for the other thumbs up. I appreciate that. I really do. You guys help the algorithm move right along with me. Okay, automobiles. Now, these are one liners that, well, actually, there's one here that's not a one liner. These are attributed. I'm having awful car troubles. The car won't start and the payments won't stop. Milton Berle. That's a fact. This one is by Phyllis Diller, one of the few female comics that's actually quoted in this book. Boy, our new car is a real lemon. The windshield wipers are on the inside. The only time they do any good is when you're backing through a snowstorm with the rear window open. Okay. Sort of. Hey, Larry, good to see you. Thanks for being in here. I think you gave me a thumbs up too, because I see I have 3 now. When I'm on the highway in my car, just once, I'd like to see someone pass me without pointing to my tires. That was by Rodney Dangerfield. Can any of us relate to that? Oh my gosh. Okay, car story, true story. My dad's mother, she drove until way past when she should not have been driving. She had no one to take her license away. They took her car away. My family took my grandma's car away by loaning it to one of my cousins so he could drive to Mexico. And then while he was in Mexico, oh, unfortunately, the car got totaled. I don't think the car ever left town. I think someone in the family took it and put it in their garage and just locked it away, put a car cover over it and just locked it away. I guarantee you my cousin did not drive that car down to Mexico and total it. But she loaned her car to my cousin and he took one for the team. And yeah, so that's how she lost her license. But before that, when the family started, the chatter about taking grandma's car from her, she was driving from her house to my aunt's house, I think, on a fairly regular basis. And it was a decent drive through town. And she had a fairly new car. Not super new, but fairly new. And she showed up at my aunt's house one time with the hood open, not flying open. She wasn't driving down the road fast enough for the hood to fly open, but it was unlatched from inside the car. So it wasn't latched down. Still had the safety latch on, but the The hood was popped, you would say. The trunk was wide open. The windshield wipers were going. It wasn't raining, and the lights were on. Oh, yeah. Larry, I did not take my mom's keys from her, but she gave me her keys when she turned 80, and then I bought her car from her, and I drive her around some. She lives in a place that that takes her places if she wants to go there. Anyway, so grandma shows up to my aunt's house. The hood is popped, the trunk is wide open, the windshield wipers are going, and it's not raining. The lights are on, which is okay. People drive with their lights on. I do. But anyway, she gets to my aunt's house, gets out of the car, goes in, says, "You know what? The people in this town are so friendly. When I drove over here, everyone was waving at me." And my aunt was like, "Oh, that's nice, Mom," and they had their tea or whatever. And then when grandma went to leave, my aunt looked at her car and was like, "Oh my gosh, they weren't waving at you, they were waving to you." Poor grandma. Oh gosh. Okay. My new car is so modern. You press a button and it presses a button. That's Henny Youngman. Buttons weren't common in cars when Henny Youngman was driving and when this joke was written. Yeah, Larry, we've got my father-in-law's classic car, his 67 Chevelle, and we have I don't know how old his Chrysler van is, but he has a little minivan, and we drive both of them. They're in my husband's name. My father-in-law has been, I guess you would say, declared incompetent, but not by a judge, by his doctors. He wouldn't even know how to drive. The last time he tried to drive was, gosh, it was close to 93, probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe. And he was putting the house key in the ignition and he couldn't get it to start and he couldn't figure out what was wrong. And my husband was grateful because my husband had taken away all his car keys because even though he was living alone, he had other people to drive him. But seeing him in there trying to do that, that wasn't good. Okay, let's see. I drove my car up to a toll bridge. The man said 50 cents. I said sold. Hi there. Oh my gosh. What, what is she doing? She's like, "Daddy, mommy's telling jokes. I'm not used to you being here when mommy's telling jokes." That was weird. The dog just woke up and saw my husband, and she was like, "That was weird." I'm on the computer. I'm on the internet doing a live feed. It's where I talk to strangers on the internet. And then nobody's stranger, he said. That's a fact. Oh yeah, yeah. They strokes do that to people. I know a, a lot of a big stroke will do it, but a whole bunch of little tiny strokes. What do they call them? TIAs. That sets you up for dementia big time. Slappy White said 50 cents, and he said sold. And these are not attributed. You can hear my grandfather clock in the background telling me it is 10 o'clock. They have cars now that talk to you. I don't want a car that talks. When I get stopped by highway patrolmen, I don't want a car that could squeal on me. Okay, this is back in the olden days, but nowadays your car will totally squeal on you. It will tell the police where you were, for how long, what speed you were driving, on what streets. It tells them everything. I think some cars even can record conversations if they have certain apps. I don't have a car like that. I don't want a car like that. Today's cars will squeal on you for sure. If you get a car, try not to get anything in it that can, I shouldn't say squeal like everybody's driving around doing criminal things, but do you really want a car where they can search through your database and find out what you were talking about? Although now my cell phone does that. I can tell because of the ads that pop up after I've had a conversation with someone. Today's cars are aerodynamically designed. Yes, sir. They're built to sit in traffic jams at high speed. I must admit I'm very dumb about buying used cars. I kick the doors and slam all the tires. I had a car once that was a real lemon. On this car, even the ashtrays didn't work. Ashtrays in cars. The Chevelle has an ashtray, at least one. I think it might have one in the back seat as well, or two. Remember the ashtrays were in the doors? So gross. Talk about lemons. Most cars have a spare tire in the trunk. This car had a tow truck. I bought one car that was a real mistake. The first time I parked it on the street, a cop gave me a ticket for littering. That's a bad car. I had a car once that was such a lemon that when I'd pull into a service station, I'd get a tank of gas and a six-pack of motor oil. Yuck. I can almost smell that car. I had one automobile that was built so badly it didn't come with a warranty, it came with an apology. I follow a lawyer on YouTube, Steve Lato, Lato's Law, and he does lemon law. He's an attorney, does lemon law, and he these jokes might be funny to him. And he would say that some cars should come with an apology. He actually says that brand new RVs should not be purchased, and he would probably say any RV should come with an apology because the warranty they come with is not as good as the paper it's written on or the electronic message. Our new car was such a lemon that the only thing we got with it that still works is the coupon book. Yeah, they used to give coupon books when you bought a car. Can you imagine? Wouldn't that be nice? They also used to take you out for coffee and, really like kind of almost romance you into buying a car. Not anymore. I bought one used car that was such a lemon. When I drove it home, the car got home a half hour before the motor did. Actually, it's impossible to buy a lemon as a used car these days. I think you have to, from what I've learned, my law degree is through YouTube, watching videos. The lemon law supports new car buyers, not used car buyers. But anyway, that's a term. It's a legal term and it's a term in our society. I bought a car once that I knew was going to be a lot of trouble because it was delivered by parcel post. It took me 3 days to get the stamps off the windshield, and the spare tire came with 9 cents postage due. That was lame. That was really lame. Okay. I was going to tell a story about a car and I forgot. Oh, I did buy a new car once all by myself when I was 20 or 21. I was newly 21 if I was 21. Yeah, I was 21. Okay. And I had been working at a used car dealership. I use that term loosely. It was basically just a guy who bought and sold cars. And so I knew certain things and I knew how to ask questions and stuff. And by the time I finished with the negotiating, I noticed that the guy that was selling me the car, he was shaking. Like his hand was shaking when he was signing the paperwork. And I asked him why his hand was shaking. He said, "Because you scare me." I was 21 and I was scary. But also, I read about him later in the newspaper. He got a DUI. So he might have been a little shaky because he needed a drink. He also asked me out on a date, which I thought was kind of inappropriate. He probably didn't sell cars for very long. Driver's license. Driver's license. Okay, who would give me a driver's license? I got 2 tickets on my written test. Phyllis Diller. I sometimes have trouble starting my car. The ignition keeps spitting out the key. Also by Phyllis Diller. I don't know about that. I bought my wife a new car, said Henny Youngman. 3 weeks ago, she learned how to drive it. Last week, she learned how to aim it. Dave Barry said to my wife, double parking means on top of another car. I haven't heard the name Dave Barry in a long time. He was a pretty funny guy for a long time. Okay, this one is not attributed. Oh, this is funny. This guy drove so fast that his driver's license was issued by the FAA. He graduated from the Evel Knievel School of Driving. I have a short video you can find in my shorts of Evel Knievel, one of Evel Knievel's stunt bikes, because I was at the Wheels Through Time Motorcycle Museum down in what's it called? Oh my gosh, Kathy Valley, North Carolina, down there, and there was an Evel Knievel bike, so that one kind of, hey, Larry, you're still here. I'm so glad. I got my driver's license by default. They never found the officer who gave me my test. I I'm such a bad driver that I had 3 accidents just taking the written driver's test. Let's see. YouTube wants to ask funny misunderstandings you've had. Oh, shoot, it went away before I could put it up. Funny misunderstandings I've had. Funny misunderstandings. Can't think of any. I've had a lot. If you're a human being for very long, you'll have some. I've never been a very good driver. I got 4 traffic tickets on my written test and 2 more during the eye exam. I refused to take the eye exam at my driver's test. I figured, why should I? I never look when I'm going anyway. An officer said to me once, "Do you know it's against the law to drive without a license?" I said, "Then arrest the traffic judge. He's the one who took it away from me." Oh my goodness. I had an experience with a bad driver once. I'm just going to tell one little story, then we're going to cut this off. I wasn't driving. I had parked in a parking garage and gone into the mall. It was at the mall back when those were popular. I don't know if they still are or not. I hate to shop, so I don't know. If we have a mall anywhere near me, I have no idea. But I pulled in and I parked about maybe 10 inches behind the white line that divides you from the person that's parking from the other direction. Went in, did my shopping, came out, and the vehicle that had pulled in pulled all the way in and hit my car and was parked there. So I was looking at it. This was way before cell phones, and nobody carried a camera around. So it's not like I had, a camera with me. But then this, I'll say, older gentleman, was not very gentlemanly, came out to the parking garage and he looks at the cars and he starts yelling at me for driving into his car. He wasn't there when I parked my car. His vehicle was not there when I parked my car. And I'm standing there and I said, "Sir, your car is pulled into my car's parking space." And he's yelling at me. And his wife was there saying that I pulled into his car. He wanted to exchange insurance information. It's like, that's not going to happen. I mean, again, this was way before cell phones. Nobody carried cameras in their vehicles with them. If they did, I don't know, I wouldn't know. But he's yelling at me for pulling into his car. Now, I do suspect it's possible he had some bumper damage and he wanted to get his bumper fixed. And the only thing he could think of to do was to stage somebody else driving into him. I don't know. But I was really bold. I just got in my, it's probably a minivan. I probably had my little babies with me and drove away. But oh my gosh, that was so ballsy. And then my daughter, my oldest daughter, she had just gotten her driver's license, just brand new got her driver's license. And she decided to drive to the grocery store by herself one afternoon, getting toward evening, but not quite. And when she pulled into the parking lot, this old couple pulled in behind her, got out of their vehicle, and were screaming at her for cracking their windshield on their car. She was driving a little tiny Toyota. I don't know what I forget what it was, but it was just a little car, a little four-door something. And the speed limit would have been 25. That's the fastest. And she was a brand new driver, very cautious, very conservative, probably going 15, maybe 20, because our house was in a residential neighborhood. It's possible there was probably about a block where the speed limit was maybe 35, but there's no way she was going close to 35. And even if she wasn't hauling a load of rocks. She was in a little tiny Toyota. And this guy said, "A rock flew up from your tire and broke my windshield. You have to pay for it." And she got on the phone and called me. She said, "Mom, what do I do?" I said, "Well, nothing. It's not your problem." You did not break their windshield. If a rock on the road broke their windshield, that's between them and their insurance company. They can get a new windshield. It's not your fault. Even if you did throw up a rock that broke their windshield, it's not your fault. So thankfully, she was able to call me and they had to stop harassing her. And I told her to go ahead and get in the car and drive home. If they followed her, they followed her. They would have come up to me and I would have given them an education. But also, I would have called our attorney, which I think I probably did call the attorney the next day just to, clarify that everything was good. She was not hauling a load of rocks. There's no reason why they would have thought that a rock kicked up on the road from her would have been something she would have been responsible for. Also, the windshield was very cracked. It had happened somewhere else. They probably saw a little girl driving a car and thought, oh, that's the one we're going to pin it on. So that's my next story. Yeah, Larry, they may have been too close to her, but I really, because of how shattered or how she described the windshield, because of how cracked it had probably been there for a while. And it was probably a really big rock that hit them. And it was probably horrible for them. They knew they were going to have to pay, probably at the time, she's 40 now. So I'm thinking it probably would have been like $100 deductible at the most to get their windshield replaced. But I think they just found someone they thought would be a good mark, someone they could pick on, and they picked my daughter. And fortunately, she thought to call her mom because mama don't play that. Never have, never will. All right, Larry, thank you so much for being here. Thanks to the 5 of you who did this for me. I appreciate it. It helps my channel. And I am going to be telling jokes again probably tomorrow morning. So check it out. Get yourself a nice hot cup of whatever you drink in the morning, and we'll have a little joke time. This book is really thick. I have a lot of jokes to tell. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. God bless you and have a wonderful day.